everyone, this is Isaac here, and welcome back to Isaac Reviews 2022. Once upon a time, about 15 years ago to be precise, which is funny because that's my current age, Disney released a movie called Enchanted. As a good example of one of those movies where a character finds themselves in New York City, which is also funny since my family and I are going there over Thanksgiving, Enchanted was able to do what the Disney remakes only wish they could, which was that it celebrated the company's past while also exposing it to a new generation of audiences. An already admirable feat to be sure, but even beyond that, it was still a very charming movie. I loved Amy Adams' performance, the costume design was excellent, the 2D animation did an incredible job capturing the look of Disney's past movies, even if they'd basically abandoned 2D animation by then. The CGI has actually aged decently well, unlike a lot of CGI today, and the songs were absolutely wonderful per the standards of Alan Menken. So now we're on to the sequel, Disenchanted, 15 years later, because, of course, nostalgia is profitable. I was actually pretty intrigued upon seeing the trailers, and I was curious to see how it'd turn out, but unfortunately, the movie sucked. Maybe not the worst amount of suckage I've seen in a while, but yeah, it still did suck. One of the reasons as to why that is would have to be with the painfully generic writing. Not only does it start with Giselle and Robert moving from New York to the suburbs, but once they arrive, they also meet the nosy neighbor Malvina and her two sort of henchwomen. The latter's son is also the popular kid at school who has a mutual crush on Giselle's daughter Morgan, and Morgan herself is an angsty teenager who's always pissy with her parents. And after an especially heated argument with her unlikable daughter, Giselle remembers that she recently got a magic wish-granting wand from her homeland of Andalasia, and she wishes for the town she lives in to become a musical fairy tale. Well, that was a bad idea on her part, as the wish basically turns her into Wanda Maximoff. What I mean by that is that the town quickly goes to and Giselle herself becomes a wicked stepmother to Morgan, who has to find a way to reverse the spell before it becomes permanent. And Giselle's arc as the movie's villain is another major problem I had here. While yes, a similar arc was done with another hot redhead character in WandaVision, I could sorta understand it there since as fucked up as Wanda's actions were, she at least had motives and she was at least called out for what she did. Here, though, not only is everything that happened passed off as being just a dream, another tired cliche, but while Amy Adams does a fine job imitating a mean stepmom, this fundamental and drastic change in her personality not only feels like it comes out of nowhere, but it also guts out the whole reason people loved her in the first place, that being her personality as what is essentially a live-action Disney princess. Where Enchanted was a fun and enjoyable fish-out-of-water story about a cartoon princess in the Big Apple, Disenchanted just doesn't work all that well. The writing and character development are a complete mess, the humor doesn't have the same charm as it did originally, and a lot of the new characters are very forgettable along with this movie. Even the songs from Alan Menken and Stefan Schwartz are significantly weaker than before, with the exception of Giselle and Malvina's duet on Who Can Be a Worse Person. Sure, they're not complete ear sores unlike some other musicals I've seen. Menken's score was great per his standards, although there were a bit too many harp glissandos for my liking, and the actors seemed to be giving it their all with their singing, but the songs were overall very forgettable, and not even Idina Menzel's incredible singing could redeem how bad the lyrics in her song were. I guess I should also bring up the visuals, since, like its predecessor, it does implement some scenes with 2D animation in Andalasia, and unlike its predecessor which had some great visuals, both 2D and 3D, the 2D animation here is very choppy and low quality, and the CGI for the most part is quite mediocre. In conclusion, Disenchanted takes the charm and likability of its predecessor, Enchanted, and grinds it into another pointless and soulless legacy sequel. The costume design, score, and some of the performances may have been good, but everything else from the character development, to the script, to the humor, to the songs, to the editing, to the pacing just felt very inferior to what came before. And what came before is definitely what you should stick with as opposed to this. I'm gonna give Disenchanted a 4 out of 10, and I'll let that be this video's happily ever after. And the Disney reviews just keep on coming, because next time, when I get home from New York in a few days, I'll be reviewing Strange World. While I'm sure it won't be as good as Walt Disney Animation Studios' previous movie, this one still looks enjoyable, and I like how it's implementing the cloudy with a chance of meatballs-esque animation style present in a lot of Pixar's more recent works. Anyways, thanks for watching this episode of Isaac Reviews 2022. Be sure to like the video and subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!